Before they meet in the ring, they meet here face to face. This is Dillian Whyte versus Moses Itauma. This is Face Off. But does Dillian Whyte derail a future superstar? Written off but not out. Is this the last outing for the veteran, or a chance to remind everyone of his legacy?
Moses Itauma and Dillian Whyte are both hardened men of the heavyweight roster who are gearing up to take a bite out of each other. They came in together at the Face Off and had fiery confessions there.
Got a call from Francis. I was like, do you want to fight Dillian Whyte for X amount of money? And I was like, yeah, why not? I don't lose nothing from this fight.
You're a prize fighter.
It's that breakthrough clause that I need.
Moses Itauma was open in the lead up to his fight that he was not taking lightly the toughness and competitiveness of Dillian Whyte. On his side, he admitted that Whyte will not have an easy time coming there to purge and that he is worth more than a paycheck come the fight night.
But obviously, I ain't coming in here having the expectation that he's gonna come here and lay down. No, that's not it. But I believe that I'm going to win this fight.
On the face-off, Dillian Whyte reacted to the chatter, the age gap between him and Moses Itauma. He also touched on the media speculation concerning predictions and labels, and deflated the 6-year age storyline as he mentioned the 17-year age gap between the two.
I ain't got much to say, but you guys been making your decisions. You guys been saying this gonna happen, that's gonna happen, this, so you guys decide, bro. I ain't got much to say, bro. I'm just a little old man like you, let's say. I'm an old wolf, that's it.
Whyte positioned himself as a veteran of the battle, the symbolism of the old wolf in his fight to emphasize his experience, which he also reminded his audience that he himself considers himself dangerous and capable, even with an age advantage over his opponent.
You're a lion. You're still a lion though, Dillian. You're still a lion. Old in terms of age, there's a big gap here. That's the only reason I say old. There's a 17-year gap.
37 is not old, but you let's say I'm old, so that's it.
Frank Warren, the promoter of Whyteite, had emphasized that fighting against Dillian Whyte represented a significant step up in the rivalry of Moses Itauma. He was hinting at the fact that this might not be an ordinary step up, and that the rectangular record of Itauma might at length receive its test when opposed to an experienced warrior. Frank Warren said, "This is a big step up for Moses because he hasn't wrought anyone on Dillian's level. Though the old Dillian was a couple of years ago. Maybe it's too early. Maybe he passes with flying colors. And that's why you've got to watch it and find out." The youngest and most explosive character involved in this pairing is Moses Itauma, who is only 20 years old. Already with an unblemished record of 12 wins, 10 via KO, Itauma has already cemented himself as one of the hottest rises in the heavyweight division. Dillian Whyte removed all the superfluous drama and presented the fight as a professional obligation, but not personal enmity. He asserted that going to the ring with Moses Itauma is part of his duty and that it is an opportunity and a challenge, but not a situation motivated by resentments and feelings. It made him sound like a veteran who knows that boxing is as much business as it is a sport.
On Saturday night, when you step into that ring, what's one thing you want everyone to understand about you?
I've always been a fighter and I've always been a warrior, never been scared to fight anyone. I take on all comers, I've always done that, and I will never change until the day I die. It's gonna be a good fight, you know, they call it young lion versus old lion, but hey, a lion's a lion, whether it's young or old, it's still a lion, so.
Lightly but sharply, Dillian Whyte poked fun at a story floating around claiming he was too old to deal with Moses Itauma. He exploited the caricature image to tease a little by telling Itauma that he ought to be serving him like an elderly person in the house, ferrying his luggage and waiting to guide him across the road.
You should help me across the street, boy. That's how you are making it out. It's like, you know, it's a young kid versus an old man, so help me with my shopping bags, please, bro.
When Whyte was asked whether the age talk enabled him, he did not even want to hear about it. He looked back on his life story and highlighted that he has never been a favorite in any given situation, be it in or outside the ring. Starting as a small boy to becoming a boxer, he was once reminded of the fact that being forgotten and underestimated was not a new thing to him, and that throughout his life he has had to fight to be heard.
My life story, the shit I've been through. When have I ever been favorite for anything? Since you know me, bro, like, since you know me, you know. Even talking to me, I've never been favorite for you to even talk to me.
Whyte rounded off his argument by emphasizing that he is an ordinary man who just fights as his profession. This experience of being written off is not new to him in life, and he does not mind it now. His debate with the general society is just like any other part of the process and not an element of stress or diversion to him.
I've always been afraid of you, Dillian.
Well, why? I'm just a dude, bro. As I'm saying, so for me, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's nothing
I'm not worried that I'm getting written off, people saying this, people saying that. I don't really care, bro.
Talking about the mind of Dillian Whyte, Mark Tibbs proclaimed him as a true warrior who had extensive experience in battle and ring smarts. He admitted the street smarts of Whyte in boxing terms, and the capability of Whyte to cope with the mental aspects of the build-up to fights without being intimidated by external views. Simultaneously, Tibbs conceded that the fight that faces Whyte in the appointment of an encounter with Moses Itauma is a difficult one.
He's a real fighting man, and he's a man of experience. He fighting terms, he's wise, yeah? But it's a difficult task against Moses Itauma. But real fighting men don't let this build up, and people asked him, what do you expect of him, etc. He's a real fighting guy. He's a real fighting guy, and he wants to go and do his job. And I get it. But he's got a difficult job.
Mark Tibbs proceeded to emphasize the fact that Dillian Whyte has a proven superior record at the top level, citing that he already possessed an interim world title belt, as well as having been in the ring with great opponents. He experienced it back when he played with Whyte on an unbeaten streak. He added, he's been at the top. He's been an interim world champion before, and he's mixed with the top guys up there. He's handled himself with them guys. I was around him for 11 unbeaten fights, and well, as I say, world interim champion #1. Then Mark Tibbs evaluated the present condition of Dillian Whyte, as he admitted that there is a possibility of some wear and tear, considering that he has spent years on the top of fighting. He stated plainly that he wasn't being judgmental, but was only being realistic, and added that he hopes to see a renewed Whyte on the fight night.
I think there's a little bit of wear and tear. Only I'm not judging him, but I ain't seen him or been around him for since the Marius Wack fight, etc. But I'd be very surprised if I'd love to see a fresh Dillian Whyte on Saturday night. I'd love to see a fresh Dillian Whyte, because he's certainly got a fresh young lion in Moses Itauma.
Dave Coldwell dissected the tactical problem that Dillian Whyte would face when he takes on the young and dangerous Moses Itauma. He added that the style by which Itauma operates, that is, based on his sharp feet, slick angles, and body-punishing shots, poses a real challenge to any opponent. Nevertheless, he emphasized that in this fight, Dillian does not have any time to spare, and he cannot allow himself to be controlled by the pace of Itauma.
It's a very difficult fight for him. You can't afford to bite on Itauma's triggers and feints. He's got to land something early to get some respect off of Moses as well. And it's called the body snatcher. I think he's got to dig that body. He's got to try and take away the sharpness from Itauma by investing early doors, on the body. He's got fast feet, sharp angles. You need to slow that down.
The trick, he replied, is first to get in the impression, striking low depth, powerful blows to upset the rhythm and anesthetize the young man into slowness of movement. Coldwell informed listeners that this is not an easy night for Whyte. To prevent Moses from running away with the fight, the veteran will have to be disciplined, take risks at appropriate times, and demonstrate the kind of grit that has come to characterize his career.
If Dillian's got enough left, then that's what he's gonna have to do. Dillian's got a good jab himself. Might not be razor blade sharp, but he needs to be knocking Moses' head back, while he then can step in and land some body shots. But it's a tough task.
The youthfulness of Itauma gives him an upper hand on speed and stamina, and his dash in the boxing ring has been compared by way of example to historic boxers like Mike Tyson, especially using viciousness in the first rounds to keep the opponents at bay. His coolness and accuracy have been the wonder of fans and commentators alike, and hard to find in a player being so young in his career. Francis Warren addressed the size of the task ahead of Moses Itauma, and it should not be forgotten that Dillian Whyte is a tricky and experienced fighter. According to him, Whyte is a bad man with bad intentions, such a fighter who is a real threat already since the first bell of the fight. Warren admitted that even though Moses has the largest of ambitions to become a household name and one day a world champion, it will be a big test at this fight.
And I think it's basically because he's maybe continuing some of the narrative that's been set out about the the fact that he's been written off, and I think that's a huge mistake. I think Dillian Whyte's a bad man, and he's got bad intentions as always.
And he underlined that Itauma cannot be questioned in terms of determination and hunger, but he is going to have to perform at the very top of his game to defeat the experience and grit of Whyte. Saturday night is not about another win to Warren. It is about Moses being able to take on such a high-profile challenge that could be the difference between potential and proven greatness.
Moses has got it all to do. You know, I think, you know, we'll know what Moses is capable of doing, and what we hope he's going to go and do in the sport. I know how determined he is, and how much he wants this, and how badly he wants to become a household name in boxing, sport, as you know, and go on and win world titles. But there is a huge obstacle in his way on Saturday night in Dillian Whyte, and he's going to have to be on his A game, 100%.
All the speculation over this fight has been relentless. The inexperience of Itauma against elite-level fighters is subject to criticism from many analysts, whereas Whyte is a proven fighter who has been in the game longer than the Brazilian. Critics question whether or not Itauma has encountered sufficient opposition to be able to absorb the tactical savvy and ring IQ of someone with a wide dosage of bouts against several world champions under his belt. It was a balanced, mature commentary given by Tyson Fury, who claimed that Itauma has a talent and will, but one should consider that experience still counts. When he said that the young man has promise, he was insinuating the fact that entering a ring with someone like Whyte requires respecting the risks of doing so. Tyson Fury said, "It's a big step up for Moses because he hasn't really fought anyone on Dillian's level. Maybe it's too early, maybe he passes with flying colors." In the opposite corner stands Dillian Whyte, the 37-year-old dog who has made a name for himself as one of the hardest, most resilient fighters in the division. Key to Whyte's career has been blue ribbon matches against the finest heavyweight talents of his period, such as Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker.
You have to test yourself, bro. That's it. You know, I've never been scared to take risks. If I didn't take risks, I'd have been dead already. So, you know, nothing changes, man.
Despite his setbacks, such as a suspension after eating a contaminated supplement, Whyte is no weak link, as his current professional card reads 31 wins, 3 losses, and 19 knockouts. His best asset is his experience, having knowledge on how to deal with the ebb and flow of a fight, how to read opponents, as well how to exploit weaknesses. Power, technical ability, and mental strength have enabled Whyte to compete at the highest level of the sport for over 10 years.
I'm fighting the best Dillian Whyte because there's no pressure on him. Everyone,
lots of pressure on me, bro.
There's pressure.
It was a must-win fight, but there's lots of pressure.
Moses Itauma answered how it feels to be the heavy favorite. He noted that by the time he defeats Dillian Whyte, his victory will be perceived to be part of the norm and will not give him a lot of rapport. In the same breath, however, he accepted the irony that the same doubts in Whyte also create great expectations that he will show a dominating performance.
No, but if I go in there and I knock you out, everybody's gonna say, yeah, Moses Itauma was going to do it. So the same way everybody's writing off Dillian Whyte, they're putting a lot of pressure on me to perform against him. So where's the win-win situation for me?
Buddy McGirt had acknowledged the fact that he had ever seen Moses Itauma fight on his proverbial turf before drawing up his battle scheme. His trust in Whyte's experience was keenly more fueled due to the absence of close-range footage or data of the new prospect getting its first experience. Buddy McGirt said, "I have never seen Moses Itauma fight, relying on Whyte's extensive experience to guide their strategy, questioning whether the 20-year-old Itauma has encountered a challenge like Whyte before." Francis Warren added to his considerations, explaining that this battle is an upward move and a golden opportunity for Moses Itauma. It is the sort of name, he said, that should Moses get it, would raise his repute one night. Whyte is a formidable opponent since he has extensive experience, his body shape, and the way he absorbs the foul mood with his cool temperament in spite of being a write-off.
It is a step up for Moses. It's a great name on his record, and I fully expect him to come through it on Saturday night. But Dillian Whyte, if you're not on it with someone like Dillian Whyte and the experience he's got and the bad intentions that he will bring on Saturday night, he looks in terrific shape. He's very cool, calm, and collected. He doesn't seem particularly, you know, like he's not aggravated by being written off. He's just taking it in his stride, and I think he's basically saying that if Moses can do it, he'll do it. But if he can't, I'm there to take him out.
Saturday night isn't just another fight, it's a collision between youth and experience, hunger and grit. Moses Itauma steps into the ring looking to prove he's the future, but standing in his way is Dillian Whyte, a man who's been to the top, fought the best, and isn't here to be a stepping stone. The stakes couldn't be higher. One will rise, the other will be left with hard questions. Who walks away victorious? Who gets their name etched deeper into boxing's story? Drop your predictions in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for all the latest Fight Night breakdowns.